The founding fathers of this great nation and their contributions towards the growth and development of early America has in many ways paved the road which has led us to where we stand now as a nation. Their works have been the focus of multitude of studies. Great literature has been written depicting their involvement, dedication, and desires to make this the free and grand nation they knew it could be. While most of the focus lies on the great men, as it should, there are contributions made by others that are simply overshadowed. With that being said, the saying, where there is a great man, there is a great woman by his side, comes to mind. This saying could not be more true than for John and Abagail Adams. Abagail Adams was not simply one of history's presidential first ladies. She too was a significant contributor in the molding of our country. Her dedication and admiration for her husband and country, along with her zest for equality among women and slaves, made her an early advocate of human rights. Abagail Adams is renowned for her writing skills, which is present in letters written to her husband throughout their relationship. Her letters were written in a manner that not only held a great influence over her husband and his decisions, but they continue to impress today. In one of the most recognized letters sent to her husband, Abagail writes, "In the new code of laws which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies, and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Do not put such unlimited power into the hands of the husbands." She was referring to his involvement in the writing of the Declaration of Independence and the new form of government for our country. Abagail was also a firm believer in education for women. She believed that women should have the same education and opportunities as men did. In another letter written to John, she voices her opinion and challenges her husband with regard to his statement, where he felt a deficiency in education of men, but she argues that if he is complaining of neglect of the men towards their education, what about all the women who desire such learning but are not afforded the same rights to that education, including herself? Abagail's desire for equality did not end with women. She was also a believer in equality of all people, including that of slaves. Abagail found an incredible irony with early Americans fighting for their freedoms because they felt they were oppressed when they were slave owners themselves. She once again wrote John and said, "I wish most sincerely there was not a slave in the province. It always appeared a most iniquitous scheme to me. Fight ourselves for what we are daily robbing and plundering from those who have a right to freedom as we have." Through communications via letters to her husband and her outspoken advocacy of women's rights in slavery, she paved the way for civil rights movements. The devotion displayed by Abagail Adams to her husband and country prompted movement based on equality for women and slavery that laid the groundwork for these movements through present day. Abagail Adams was an early advocate of humane treatment and equal rights for women and slaves. Her letters are still studied and used in teaching settings today. She is not only considered a remarkable woman for her time, but a remarkable woman, period.